Hello, and welcome to BonkTable. I'm Masters in their Conquest banner report. I am playing a Dweghom vs. Spires matchup. I Invoke the Frenzy Flame ending, while my opponent is Skillin, who is playing Carl at Worlds. That's what I named it. He named it Caveomancy, and he didn't tell me that until like after I had built everything, and I was like, this is just Carl's Worlds list, dude. So let's get into the list. Let's talk about them. So here's the Frenzy Flame ending. Holdray Warlord, you know what? You might start loving it because he just makes everyone score. That's it. He gives +2 scoring stands to all command stands and characters. So those Ardent Kirawas and Magma Forge, they're 8 stands for the entire regiment. It's kind of funny. And the Flame Berserkers can 5 is contesting and 2 is scoring. So good on them. Well done, guys. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Oh, look, it's fixed. Weird. I'm leaving that in. Anyway, Holdray, like, it's double Hold Warriors. Everyone has a banner, double Ironclad Drake, so they have that 8-inch aura of re-rolling on the command standing character, which is actually really nice and pops up every once in a while. Then it's Ardent Kirawa, 2 Flame Berserkers and Magma Forge, and then you just hit the duplicate button, and that's the list. There's no upgrades. There's nothing fancy. The entire list is everything can score. Everything has more stands for scoring than your opponent. And you're very quick with the Flame Berserkers running like 13 inches up the table turn 1 and, you know, just shooting to the middle or past the middle turn 2. And then the Hold Warriors running up the table like 16 inches. So you have a really good score cascade as everything comes onto the table. You're going to be like Flame Berserks, then Magma, then Hold Warriors and Ironclads. And you're just kind of going to push all this stuff into your opponent's butthole and just be like, here, deal with it, as you sit in the back and score everything with everyone else. And that's the whole point. Big head, no thoughts. I don't really have more to talk about this list. Like, as I've kept playing Dweg, we have been decreasing the technicality of Dweghom more and more to just like, can you position? Can you bum rush your opponent? Yeah, sure. By the way, I'm slow rolling the rules, so you can pause the video and read those. But it's really just everything baseline. That's it. Nothing exciting is happening here, except it's funny every time I play it. Alright, let's go to Skillin's list. Alright, Carl from Worlds. That's what it's being called now. This is all you, buddy. So, Biomancer Warlord, that allows him to get his Biomancies off on anything that's in an objective zone, which is really good. He has Master of Flesh, what allows him to cast 2 of his Biomancies or character actions, and then he has Degeneration? I don't even know. He has the Lethal Demise one. I think that's this one. It's not Cascading Degeneration, it's Degeneration Aura. Generative Aura. Goddamn degenerates. This is some weeaboo crap going on right here. Hear that, Spires? You're all weeaboos now. Anyway, gives his regiment Lethal Demise. He's got 6 stands of Horse-Grown Drones. Yay. They're there just to have the Biomancer run around in and just like use the block and cover a flank. Because every time they die, they're going to blow up in your face, and then they're going to regenerate, and it's super annoying. And then we got a Prideborn with Adaptive Flesh, so don't take the first wound in a duel. I'm pretty sure this is just because the list has 5 points left over. Then you got 2 Leonin Avatar, so you got your super sweet guns. Only problem with them is they're Barrage 3, so they're not going to be doing a whole bunch, but you know, they got Volley 3, and they can take aim, they got Fluid, so they can like do a ton of work. Except you're probably killing an MSU over 2 turns. Like, you're seriously damaging it, and then you're finishing off the next turn. But you're very consistent in that, and having 2 of them is you can just plink off an MSU without too much worry. Then you got your Centaur Avatar. These guys are going to be the follow-up. After everything's set, you're going to come in with your Centaurs and just kind of smash into somebody or use it to cover a flank or whatever, because your main workhorses are the 2 Leonin Avatar, and in the High Clone Executor, you got the Marksman clones. So those are your 3 workhorses, are all the guns. You also got Vanguard clones to just shoot up and cover. And lastly, we got a Ferromancer with Avatar projections in Brute Drones and 2 units of Strix. So you're using the Strix to kind of flank around the sides, get in and be really annoying and bog down your opponent while doing some damage and pulling resources away from your front where your guns are, where your opponent's trying to get to stop and kill. A way to deal with the Strix, and that gives you time to keep shooting. While you have Vanguards, we can run up and score a zone, while also blocking. The Force-Grown Drones can also block. You don't want them to go very, like, soon. You kind of want to hold them as long as possible because they're sitting with the Biomancer. The Biomancer is pretty safe with the Lethal Demise coming from the Force-Grown drones. It's 24 wounds with that block of 6, so it's a lot of damage. But they are defense 2. Like, it's D1 with a shield, so they will die very, very, very quickly. They're not really doing a ton of damage back. But the Biomancer's whole stick is you're going to be basically getting a high clone Executor Supremacy turn every turn just because of how he manipulates the stack. So this list is very technical on how you activate your stack. So you're going to have to take time and really think that one over and build your stack. And good Spires players are going to be really good at manipulating the stack, while Spires players that need more practice, to say it politely, will have a harder time, and they're going to make errors in the stack, what's going to cause problems. Spires is all about that stack manipulation, and that's just a skill you're going to have to learn in Spires. That's all I can say. I'm going to slow roll these rules. I don't really got much more. There's probably maybe some other battle reports that are going to be out, also showcasing this list or a variant of it with like some of the upgrades swapped around, so, you know, doesn't matter. Oh my god. Got like 4 to 5 pages of rules. Hello, Spires. Alright, let's get into the game. Alright, so we have Forlorn Hope. Big thing to remember on this one is that you cannot side deploy off the middle 2 feet. However, you got your 9 and your 6. The 9 being, was it 4.5 inches off the 18-inch line. Something that runs, oh, I don't know, 14. So something that's speed 7 can shoot up and grab the zone very quickly on turn 2. So that's really nice. And what else is going on here? Oh yeah, we got 2 objectives. They're neutral, so either player can kill them. My list is all melee, so the only thing that effectively kills an objective, because you don't want to be bogged down on the objective marker. Like, you don't want a Flame Berserker to hit it, turn 2. You don't want another Flame Berserker to hit it, turn 2, and then they have to do one more wound, and then they gotta, like, unwiggle themselves and push forward. It's terrible. Don't do that. I have the Ironclad Drake, so you know the Ironclad Drake will just do it. He's gonna beeline for this thing. That is a terrible line. Beeline. Boom. There we go. He's gonna beeline for that thing and just kill it. And then hopefully maybe he'll go for the next one. We'll find out if my opponent killed it. But really, it's just controlling those 2 zones. You get 2 points for each zone, and you get an additional 3 for controlling 3 or more. And then you get 2 for killing every character, and 3 for objectives. So, in this, the whole point is you want to, I'm going to get rid of some stuff. You want to control your 2 zones. And then you want to push in and take one of your opponent's zone. And you kind of want to hold a line like this. And you want to score 3 zones for like 2 turns, and you'll be up enough that your opponent, if you're kind of even with your opponent, won't be able to come back. So you want to delay it by at least 2 turns, or you want to score it by 2 turns. And that's what I found really pushes this matchup point-wise into your favor, is once you control the 3rd zone or deny your opponent that 3rd zone for a while. Scoring it is much better because it's harder for your opponent to come back, because, you know, they're going to push you off this, let's say. Well, now you're tied, but you've scored an extra 5 points for 2 turns, so you're 10 up, so it's a little harder to come back, and your opponent now has to push you off another zone. What's more work, and by that point, you're hopefully just kind of like bleeding the clock and getting to turn 10 to end the game. Alright, let's get into the table. Here's the table. We got hindering and obscuring. Also, I'll do it in black. Oh, we have these obstructions over here. Also hindering obscuring woods. We got the Wada. We have broken. This is also broken. And then we got the hills or elevation. So, big things about this table. This area right here, there's a gap that I'm going to have to push through to get into the zone. I can't nicely get into that zone just straight up, so I'm going to have to kind of like run up and then turn and wiggle and get up there. This area, I'll just make it. This is also like pretty wide open. There's really no defensive terrain, and my opponent has 3 shooting regiments, so I'm just going to get lit up. Basically, I'm going to get up the entire like middle section of the table. All of this is just open. I'm just getting shot. So I'm going to have to try and use his regiments to get in the way, try and force him to move, just like bum rush him. Like, that's the whole point of the Frenzy Flame, is you just bum rush your opponent because you got so many Flame Berserkers. who could score. So you're just like, get him. And you just don't care because you're just like, get him. So yeah, this is really open, what actually makes it super easy for my opponent because they could just sit back here, let's do it in blue, and just like light me up. So I gotta be really careful about that because there isn't really much terrain in the middle. It kind of sucks. So, but that's the game we're playing. So let's get into it. Turn 1. All right. I get 2 Flame Berserks out of my 4, and my opponent gets both his Strix and his Biomancer with his big block of Force Grown Drones. I don't know who won the roll-off. I know, so here's the worst part in this game. I'm pretty sure there was like 5 turns in a row where I rolled a 6, and I had the +1 bonus. Because the +1 bonus is no longer tied to your deck size, it's tied to if you went first last turn. So I kept getting second, and I kept rolling 6s, and I was like, fuck, this sucks. But anyway, Flame Berserk, Flame Berserk. I'm already looking to cap these 2 zones of those Flame Berserks. I was hoping to get all 4 on. I played Brian and Rolo who played this list, and they got all 4 on turn 1. And it completely changes how this list plays, because like I would have another Flame Berserk over here, I'd have another Flame Berserk over here. Like these guys would just be rushing forward before them and just kind of like clobber my opponent into the corner. Skillin, on the other hand, isn't that aggressive. He kind of comes up, he's kind of waiting around. He's looking to try and perform a Dweghom Castle with Spires. And you're going to see it develop and how it turns out. But I was talking to Brian, who I'm going to dub the Dweg Father, about this. I showed him some pictures before I recorded, and he was like, Spires shouldn't be trying to do the Dweghom Castle, because they're not Dweghom. So I'm like, yeah, okay, like, he'll hold off long enough, but he won't be able to, like, push out, and you'll see how that develops as the game goes on. That's really it. That's turn 1. His Strix are there to kind of, like, get into me. Turn 1 or 2, he should have maybe, like, put his Strix out further, like so, just so that he can kind of, like, bank in whenever he needs to. Just so that he can kind of like disrupt my lines, because as this game is going to develop, you're just going to see me like streaming in Dweg bodies into this Beat Grinder, what is his gun line. Alright, let's go to turn 2. Here's turn 2. I get double Kirawa, double Magma Forge, and my other 2 Flame Berserks. I just kind of like start running stuff up. Oh, sorry, I should also tell what my opponent got. My opponent got his double Leonin and his Marksman, and that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so pretty good on him. He's already got his guns all set up and he's looking to get into me. He hasn't been being very aggressive. I'm not super aggressive either, but I should have been better. So he moves these Strix up into the zone and they can score. That's really good, so he's going to score the zone. But I had plenty of room and distance to like, instead of this being a 5-up charge, it could have been a 4-up. And I should have just done it because it was like, I don't know, 11.1. I could have easily like wheeled a bit more, and I should have checked that, and that was bad on me. And the other one here, this one, I could have done the same. I could have like wheeled it a bit more, like positioned it a little better, and turned it from like, I can't charge you to I can get you on, I don't know, like let's say a 6 or a 5, like something a little better. So those are faults on my end that I need to clear up as I play the list more. Then the rest of it is just running up this entire line of guys. Things that I need to watch out for as well is that this right here, I should have had my Flame Berserks and my Magma Forge like shifted over that 0.2 of an inch. These regiments both got deployed this turn. I should have just checked that. I forgot to do it, and I should have shifted them over. The other Magma Forge were stuck either way between that building and that objective, but they're just going to wiggle their way through with like wheels and stuff and, you know, keep moving forward. My opponent, on the other hand, he moves up his Strix. He's not very aggressive with them. He's kind of wanting to protect, and he's going for that Dweghom Castle build that I talked about in the previous round. So he's using the Strix like that, but Strix are mostly a disruption tool, and they get more work done if you charge with the Strix, do a bit of damage, and then lethal demise on top of that little bit of damage you do, and you'll probably be able to piece trade that way. However, if a full regiment's coming in to like stab your Strix, you're not going to be doing very well just because they're not going to have that little bit of extra damage on them. So he's kind of positioned to just kind of wall off and keep his guns safe. I make a mistake here. I'll do it in purple. These guys are within 27 of the board edge. Luckily, Skillin only moves like double marches to get into a better position for later turns instead of just walking up 5 and trying to shoot me. But he had the Strix already in the way, so he couldn't even arcing, so he had to walk anyway, so it was fine. But I'll do it in purple. There's that line right there that could have gotten to these Flame Berserks, and it's just like, The other thing about the guns now is that you measure your shooting distance from the middle of the stand. So just watch out for that. Because it's no longer the corner. It's no longer the corner, so there's, you know what? It's pinkish. So you're losing distance, so you gotta watch out for that change. And it's kind of caught myself and a couple other players off guard, just due to the changes in the rules. So that's kind of what's going on. I score 4 points, my opponent scores 2. Yay! Let's go to turn 3. Alright, here's turn 3. Things that happen. My opponent gets his Brutes and Pharaoh Mancer and a Centaur Avatars. Yay. I get... Ooh, I don't know. This one-ass Drake. That's it. So, things that go on first. Flame Berserks. These Flame Berserks? Yeah, these Flame Berserks. These Flame Berserks charge into these Strix, kill the Strix. Oh no! They're dead. Wah! Then they just get lit up, like... These guys... Oh, these guys shoot, just light them all up and they die. Yay. They also got lethal damage, so they just explode. Then I just follow up with my Bagma and my Flame Berserks, you know, setting up that line of engagement, scoring everything again. I'm not super worried, but I am locking down the zone. My opponent response, I think he just like wiggles the Force Grown Drone block, nothing too crazy, and brings on the Pharaohmancer and the Brutes. Lastly, my Flame Berserks on the left here just kind of set themselves up to score that left side zone, as well as zone out the Strix or anything else coming in. Strix charge me, do a bunch of damage, and I forget if the Leonin shot them. So here's the thing, I think the Strix did like 1 wound, and then the Leonin shot them and did a bunch more, and now I'm down to like 6 health left, so not that great. The rest of the list, I don't know, Mega Forge run up, Flame Berserks run up, Drake is looking to kill this objective really easy. I'm scoring 1, 2, 3, so getting those extra points, outscoring my opponent. The Drake play, I'm not exactly sure if that was the correct thing going for the objective this early. I think in retrospect, I should have not gone for the objective, and instead put the Drake, like, dude in orange, like, you know, right here, behind the Magma Forge, and then just had the Drake shoot out over the Magna Forge and just get into my opponent, like just double march charge something, just to kind of keep gumming him up, because I'm already scoring enough on the zones that those 3 points isn't going to matter too much. And the only thing that my opponent has that can one round an objective is the Centaur Avatar, so he's spending activations killing objective markers, he's not killing my stuff. And hopefully I can just outscore him until late in the game and just keep that pressure up. And I think this is, on turn 4, is a mistake having my Drake go for that objective. I should have just kept pressuring my opponent, and I might have been able to get a Drake into his lines. But my opponent is super far back, if you notice. Like, he is there. I control a majority of the table, and he's trying to push me out, but he's not on the zone, and he's not scoring, so I'm getting this massive score lead right now. Let's go to turn 5 and see how that develops. Alright. Sweet. So, things that go on. Vanguard clones come on the table. They just shoot up. And then I get my other Drake and my 2 Hold Warriors. Yay! So, first things first. Flame Berserks. I don't even know what the hell they do. I think they die to shooting? Yeah, no, actually. So, they die to shooting. I'll do them in orange. So the Flame Berserks and Strix over on the left here. Flame Berserks kill Strix. Take some lethal. Leon and Avatara. Shoot and kill them. I think they back up a little bit. Then I run the other Flame Berserks over here. This is actually kind of a weird turn because I doll my Flame Berserks out, like one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the end of my deck, just to see what happens. And so I have places where I can have Flame Berserks come in depending on how far forward my opponent moves. Then my opponent doesn't take the bait here with the Centaur Avatar to go in for these Flame Berserks because I had the Magna Forge set up to basically side charge them if they ever went in. And that would have been really bad for the Centaur Avatar. So that kind of happens. He doesn't fall for the bait. I just sit there to get in position to keep pushing up. I am once again scoring zone. Yay! My opponent runs up with the Vanguard clones, getting on the objective and scoring it. I go for a 5 charge into these Vanguard clones. I roll a 2 and I fail, so I just end up over there. Sweet. My opponent develops Biomancer, and his block just kind of wiggle out a bit more. These Leonin were misplaced in the stack, and basically just their activation was blundered, so they didn't get anything out of them. Marksman clones, I'll do you in purple. Shot my Magnaforge with a, arcing fire, did like 3 points of damage. And then we got the brutes over there who are just kind of behind the vanguards to kind of push out or whatever they need to do if the vanguards get hit. So, realizing that this is all developed on this side, and one of my last activations are these Magnaforge at what are in his zone, I just kind of run up and I get 3 stands. So the character counts as additional 2 and the command stand counts as additional 2. So I have 3 stands in there, plus the additional 2 for the command and the character, so that's additional 4. So that's 7 versus his 3, so I score that zone. Sweet, I'm gonna take that zone. Then I run up both the Hold Warriors, who at some point went earlier, but their whole job is to score these zones. So I'm like, sweet, there's 4 zones locked down. That's really good. And earlier on, I had my Magnaforge. I'll do it here. Or not my Magnaforge, my Ironclad. Green here. Charge and kill his objective. Sweet. And you need half or more of the stand to go through the rough terrain, or the terrain, to not get your impacts or lose your inspired. And because I was over here, I did not. Just kind of had a quarter of it go. It just went doot doot and took it out. So I was like, sweet. So now, I don't know, what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13 points up, and my opponent's only scored 2, so we're shooting up the table. Other Ironclad, he runs over here. This might have been a misplay. You'll see how it turns out into my favor, but I was thinking of having him kind of, I'll do it in orange, like maybe on the left side, but I already felt like I was putting enough pressure on the left side that I didn't really need it, because I just need one of his flanks to collapse, and we're kind of still baiting each other to do stuff, and I'm taking peace trades and I'm having a great time because I'm just scoring everything, and he needs to kind of come out and be a little aggressive and start making plays. And even though it's really hard to assault him, I'm just scoring everything and I'm just taking it. So that, I believe, is turn 4. Let's go to turn 5. Here's turn 5. So things that go on, I got both Flame Berserk cards. Flame Berserk the first, rolls it, gets into these Vanguard clones, does a bunch of damage. Vanguard clones take some Aura of Death. They're alive on like 2 health. I'm like, god damn it. Flame Berserks in response gets stabbed by Vanguard clones and shot by these Prideborn or Leonin or whatever the heck they are. He double shoots, as you can see, and he lost a Sanity to Decay. It's not the end of the world because he's just going to heal it. And they're kind of all stuck there. That's fine. I don't care. His brute drones aren't coming over. So he does a bunch of that stuff to try and kill off these Flame Berserks. Next thing, my other Flame Berserks go after his Centaurs. They only kill off a stand. Centaurs go back and kill them, and then I think the Leonin shoot them as well. So I'm like, alright, they're dead. Not the end of the world. In response, I have my Ironclad. So here's the thing. I could have rolled a 5 and got the Ironclad into the other objective and killed it. It's still there hiding behind him, and I don't. And the reason why I don't is because I want to get my march, and I kind of want to like shoot out from that position, either into these brutes or into these Centaurs or into these Leonin. Like I want to force project, and that's kind of where I was thinking. I kind of wasted a turn killing that objective back here, and if I had just pushed the Ironclad forward, he would have been in a better spot to threat project for this turn. So he would have been further up the table, would have allowed me to just push out and hit him again. So if he was, to the left there, the previous turn, this turn he could have shot out into those Centaurs after the Flame Berserkers hit, and then killed the Centaurs. Now his flank is collapsing, but right now it's not. So Magnaforge are over there, scoring that zone, because that's what we need to do, keep scoring. The Hold Warriors are scoring, and they're looking to get the double score. As you can see, they're starting to twist. The other Magnaforge on the left, because those Flame Berserks didn't die and the Vanguard clones didn't die, they just reform and just have it an auto into these brutes, and that they're just going to side charge or just come down the line so they don't have to wheel or anything or touch the engagement. They're just going to fall that tangent and just get them. So I set that up for next turn. Lastly, the Ironclad on the left, I'm looking to like sneak him into these brutes, but I realize that his Force-Grown drones want to fight me and like bog me down, and he explains what's all going on with the Force-Grown drones, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to fight that because you're just going to try and bog me down forever. So I'm just going to hang out back here and just pop out when I need to be. And we're about 10 inches away from each other, so we're just like, yeah, whatever. But, you know what that does for me, though? I score all 4 zones. I also think this Kirawa cast the rally spell on those guys so they could just rally. But yeah, that's it. Another 10, 13 points? 2, 4, 6, 8. No, it's 11. It's 11 if you control all 4 and have the bonus. So it's 11 points. So last turn I would have got 14 because I killed it. But yeah. It's not the end of the world. He's still pushing out. I'm still trying to peace trade. I'm still keeping him back. Hopefully I can kind of outscore him in the next couple turns. He's kind of pushing my stuff back, but I just don't care because I'm having such a massive score lead. Let's go into the next turn, what I think is going to be 7 for some reason. Oh, also his marksman clones shoot my Ironclad and do like 6 or 7 damage right there. So that's what they did. All right, next turn. Okay. So things that go on. My opponent, once again, wins the roll-off. So I've been rolling 6s back and forth. Good on me. Gets the Centaur Avatar into the Magnaforge, kills off 2 stands. I then activate the Kirawa who rallies, and they clash into the Centaurs, kill off 1 guy. Even with the rerolls from the Ironclad who's dead. We'll talk about him in a moment. Then my opponent, he unloads Marksman and Leonin into the Ironclad and kill it. So I'm like, no! I want to charge out with that thing! But it dies. So I'm like, oh, sucks. However, Magnaforge and Kirawa charge clash into the brutes, put them down to like 1 wound, but they're alive, what kind of sucks. Flame Berserks kill off the Vanguard clones, yay, and then both the Hold Warriors complete the twist so that they can both score both these zones. So another 11 points. My opponent's Biomancer charges with his massive block into the Ironclad. The Ironclad does like, I don't know, 12 damage or something. Kills off 3 stands, and then, because they're defense 2 and I'm cleave 2, and I'm just like, I rip through them. And then he takes his morale, on top of being terrifying. His like resolve is 1 or something at that point. And he just fails all his resolve, it just dies. And I'm like, oh sweet, you're just dead. So maybe, I was thinking about it in retrospect, I was like, maybe I should just charge clashed him and just killed all the Force-Grown drones, like 6 stand. Like the Ironclad can do it. Some decent rolls, the Ironclad can just kill. And then I took like some damage back. I think there's like 6 wounds on this guy. And so yeah, I'm like, that's a good trade. I'm happy. That's actually really good for me because now his Biomancer's dead. I don't have to deal with that guy anymore. Or more shooting happens. I think these guys shoot the Magnaforge. They try and wiggle around. I only know like 2 of the stands get in. Or no, 3 of the stands get in because of the changes in how shooting goes. Because he got measured from the middle. But he still does a bunch of damage. I'm like broken and I'm down to like 2 or 3 wounds left on both of those Magnaforge with those characters. So I'm not like super worried because I just need to kind of clean up the last little bit and I'll be in a really good spot to just keep scoring out. So I think this is 7. Let's go to 8. I want to say it's 8. Whatever. Editing Mass will put a turn counter somewhere so you'll see it. Let's go to the next round. Here we go. So things that go on. As you can see, Centaur Avatar, Magnaforge, there we go, are both dead. Leonin, shoot the Magnaforge and kill them. Yay. Other things that go on. I don't know what the heck happens here. I think his Ferromancer like heals his brutes, and then the other Magnaforge go and do some damage, and then they like fight and they eventually die. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Marksman clones shoot the Ironclad. Ironclad march charges into the Leonin and kills off a stand. I'm like, okay, sweet. And once again, the Hold Warriors doing their objective HUD duty of scoring both zones. So 11 more points. I'll take it. My opponent's killed 2 characters and scored twice, so he's up to 6. I've killed a character and scored a fuck ton, so I don't know what I'm at right now. But you'll see it off to the side. Alright, I believe turn 8 is our last turn, and that'll be it. So let's go to turn 8. Because at this point, my opponent knows he can't come back, because I've just been outscoring. And the Drake's still there, so he's got to kill the Drake, and then he's got to push out. So he's going to get a couple points by the end. But I've just been dominating the scoring from the very beginning of the game, and at this point, I don't even care. Like, I'm just trying to bleed it out. And it's going to take him probably 2 turns to kill off all my stuff, and he isn't going to have enough turns to get enough points even if he's controlling all 4 zones for until the end of the game. So turn 8. Here we go. I win the roll-off, thank goodness, because I failed it the last, like, 4 times. Ironclad kills Leonin. Sweet. Goodbye, Leonin. And I get 2 points for the character. His marksman and his Leonin, as you can see, shoot the Ironclad, kill it, and he kind of calls it there. His brutes probably could have ran to the zone and scored it because it would have been 2 to my 1. Or did you just want to put a march charge me at that point and try to do some damage with impacts? But once again, you know, I'm scoring these. So he would have prevented 1, so I would have got 3 zones instead of 4. But we call it that point just because there's really nothing else he can do. Turn 9, he's got to push out those 1 unit of hold warriors, and then he's got to score those 2 zones. He can probably do it with 2 stands with the brutes, and then he's got to move all his guns over, I'll do it in purple, over here to shoot off these hold warriors. And I'm like, that's fine, I'll just sit there. I don't care. It's like 3 scoring stands, so he has to kill off 2 stands per side to try and prevent me from scoring. And even then, I might just run away to not give him points for the character, but mostly try and get more points from just still scoring that zone. I'll do it in green. I'll do it in orange. This one down here. That's really it. And that's the game. So let's go check out the score. So here we go. Turn 8. Good job. And then my opponent got 6. And I got 34 plus 34, 68. 68 plus 7 is, what, 75? So yeah, it's... The Frenzied Flame ending just kind of bum rushed the shit out of Spires. And you can't out-Dweghom in the Dweg Castle department is what we've learned. In retrospect, Skillin probably should have spread out more with his Strix and not use them as blockers. Instead, use them as speed bumps or harassment or try and get into my side and not let me charge him, because I was totally ready to peace trade. On my side, I messed up some distances and I should have been checking distances more. Like, this entire list is positioning, and I have the movement where I can just check it so I can confirm what dice I want to roll or like what target number I want to reach. Like, getting a 4 is better than trying to get a 5. Getting a 3 is better than getting a 4, and I could just like wield a bit more to do it, and I had plenty of movement to do it, and that's bad on me. The Ironclad play, it panned out. It took a bunch of shots and activations away from the rest of my list onto the Ironclad for a turn, but that thing could have been up more and been more aggressive to kind of push into those centaurs after the Flame Berserkers die to like keep the pain train moving of halting and killing centaurs. What would have collapsed that left side allowed me in, and then I could have just flooded in from the left and like collapsed everything. As for Skillin, he hadn't played for like a month, and so he's gotta like, you know, if you haven't played for a while and then coming back, you make a bunch of mistakes because you're just not like in it. And this list is very technical and it's very hard to play, so you need to understand a lot of what Spires is doing and also the deck manipulation. And there's a couple times in the deck where like Skillin made a small mistake. Like one time he blundered Leon and Avatara and had them in the improper order because he didn't shuffle them down after, and it was like... And every time Skillin plays and he activates like his Biomancer or Ferromancer, after he's done something, I'm like, am I done? Can I play? Like, I asked him that question just because, hey, is there anything else you want to do? Because I have an idea of what Spires does, but their full-on craziness I would have to play to really understand. So I'm always checking in with my opponent and be like, are you doing more? Because I know there's times where you start popping off and doing a ton of shit where I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, it's kind of like that of like, hey, you know, maybe is there anything else you need to do? So, you know, you give your opponent that thing, or like, are you done? Can I draw my card as well? So you know it's your turn, because sometimes I've seen players like do something, and then we're like sitting there for 2 minutes, and it's like, okay, can I draw my card? He's like, oh yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, thank you, because I don't really want to be sitting here waiting for my card to draw. What else? I don't mind that Skillin went for the Dweghom Castle with Spires. The issue was that he couldn't push out, and I was just like hammering him with shit, and I was always looking for the peace trade, because I didn't care, because eventually I was going to get into his juicy parts with his guns. At the end I did, and I killed one, but I was also pushing him so far back, like he was never on the zones, he could never project outward, and it was always like another dwarf was in his way stabbing him, and he was like, God damn it, get off me. So there's a lot of work that way. He probably should have had the Strix like spread out more and come in from the flanks to like gum me up, or like get into the back end, or something like that, or have like the Centaurs be positioned so that I have to march charge into the Leonin, and if I do that, the Centaurs come in and hit me, but if I don't do that, the Centaurs come in and hit me, while the Strix are in the middle of my table attacking me, while I have to like clear them off to keep pushing forward, and they're being annoying, and it's like, oh my god. But killing Strix before they get to clash you, really good, because you're not taking that chip damage from their clash, and then dying to the lethal demise. So that's what I was going for there, and it panned out. So yeah, that's kind of the game. If you want more BonkTable stuff, we got a podcast, you know, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and like this video or all that stuff. There's also a Discord, you can join in the description below, where you can see other people who've also done a bunch of Conquest content. So hope everyone has a great day. Bye!